see you. We have a couple things planned tonight. We're going to be talking live events up top. So if you guys have cities that you would want to see showcased in live events in the future, make sure you don't just leave the city. Leave a reason why. That way, if Christian or someone in the Schmoedown is watching and they get an example, or if there's plenty of people in the chat who have a specific city, we kind of want to highlight some things and some cities that people want to see the Schmoedown in. We're going to talk about some things that could possibly be added to live events. I know they do the Expo and Spectacular, but maybe some special bonuses for a certain level of tickets. And then we're going to play some games with Q&A involved as well. So if you guys have questions for us specifically, hit the Streamlabs link, the Super Chat. I know we have one waiting already from Farrell, so I will save that once we are done with the live events question. And we have some games planned. We're going to play Pictionary, and we're going to play Scategories. So we have some cool games planned to have a little fun. But let's get into this Schmoedown stuff, guys, because this has been a topic for ever since quarantine started, obviously. We haven't seen live events in well over a year. We haven't seen it since, what was it? Was Atlanta the last one last year? Was Alex in the last one? Was that it?
Yeah, because that was in February.
Yeah. And then Free For All was supposed to be March, and they canceled that because the quarantine was obviously started in March. So, yeah, it must have been Atlanta last year. Let's just kind of throw around some cities, some places we may want to see, places we want to visit for a live event, and then kind of get into some things that we could see possibly added to live events, a la the Expo at Spectacular, but something smaller, obviously. I know a lot of people are going to mention stuff that's out of the U.S., obviously. That's somewhere we can probably start. Canada seems like the best option because it's close. There's a couple different options in Canada, obviously, but I think Canada is probably something that could be on the radar very quickly just because we seem to have a lot of competitors who are also Canadian, but also a lot of fans that are kind of coming from this Canadian side as well.
Get me to all the big cities. I would like Vancouver because it's closest to me.
I've also heard Vancouver is gorgeous.
I mean, Jake and I are in California, so it's just straight up. Toronto. I have Vancouver, Toronto. I'm pretty sure Montreal is pretty easy to get to also because it's like, isn't it right near New York?
Yeah, it's right across the border. It's right across the border.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
I would love to go to Canada. Yeah. I've never been.
Canada, period. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that could be, I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibilities, but you do have to get a passport to go there. So it might be a little tougher for people who don't have them or can't get them in time for the event. But yeah, I know a handful of Canadians at this point in my life, and there's quite a few people up there that I could visit at the same time. So sure.
I've never been to Canada, so that would give me a fantastic excuse to go.
Canada has great strip clubs, from what I hear.
Lady, this is happy hour.
I'm sorry.
Night. Wait. What was Parker's drink? What was Parker's drink?
The Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican hooker.
Are there Puerto Rican hookers at those strip clubs in Canada? Oh my god!
It's funny. One of Alex's old bosses. This was years ago when he was like working in marketing. One of his old bosses was the one to tell him that, like, yes, Canada is known for having great strip clubs, and I was like, what? And he was like, what? Why are you telling me this?
So we know where Molly's head was at, right? Strip clubs in Canada. This is where my head was at. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Bagels and pastrami. That's where my head is at. I will, yes. If that's what Canada has,
can you get them at the strip clubs, though? I bet you can. Because in Atlanta, there's a strip club that has really... In Atlanta, there's a strip club that has really good chicken wings. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, okay. So Canada, not just for Schmoedown, but for strip clubs, apparently. So, Christian, if you're watching, watch out.
Yeah, he was watching.
Yeah, he was watching. All right, let's bring up a couple here. And I saw one from Malcolm. He is a New Zealander, and I know this might be far out of the realm of possibilities, but that would be pretty incredible. Maybe one day Maybe one day.
It's such an expensive trip, though, and long. It's like 14 hours or something.
What would be? Well, how about this? What would be the closest thing for Malcolm to travel to? Somewhere in Europe, I'd imagine, right? So like London, somewhere around there.
Really? Oh, I would say Hawaii.
Would it be Hawaii?
Oh, it's hard for me to think that going the opposite way around the globe.
Yeah.
I mean, we guys. Again with these history questions. We had history questions on Happy Hour last night. Now we're talking about geography.
Oh yeah, speaking of, because I learned that Austin is the capital of Texas and not Houston, I would love to go back to Austin.
Chris Adams in the chat, he mentioned Austin. Austin is beautiful.
Great food. It's really fun and cool. Like there's a lot of like cool hipstery things to do there.
6th Street and Rainy Street are party scenes, bars. Yep. It's awesome. But the city is also it floats for both 21 and over and 21 and under. It's that combination. Great, obviously a big college town. And yeah, it's a gorgeous place. It's definitely, if we were to go to Texas, that's the one place I'd want to go. Obviously, I'd go to Houston. I would go to Houston.
He's saying never go to.
Never go to
there was just a shooting on 6th Street in Austin last week or something. But Rainy Street, Chris, Rainy Street is awesome, really. But there's a lot of good bars.
Molly, how quickly would Alex be in New Zealand if there was a Lord of the Rings themed exhibition?
I mean, all he needs is a specific reason to go, and we will be there. I mean, we want to go, and we will go at some point, but like we want to plan like a week or two, a trip there. But if there's a specific job-related reason that we could like write off tax reasons, yes, we will be there.
So I wonder, as what Ryan put up earlier, like what would be if the Canadian fans were to come to somewhere in the United States?
So if you're thinking if West Side, I'd probably say something like Seattle.
Ooh,
Seattle's a beautiful city too, especially if you go at the right time of year. As far as East Side, and I know Ryko mentioned it, but probably he mentioned Niagara Falls, but New York is probably the best option because New York has had the best.
Probably Boston.
Boston would be good, and we have yet to go to Boston.
For the love of God, the second you announce a Boston one, I'm buying my tickets and going.
And I know that they wanted to go. New York obviously always has a little bit of precedence because Christian's from there. And also the 2 times they've gone there, they've had the biggest shows outside of Spectacular. The New Yorkers and who goes to the New York shows, they show up. Mm-hmm. Now, for those who live in like the middle side of Canada, that's where it becomes a little tougher because the travel is a little harder. So it's just kind of a pick and choose situation on where they want to go.
Boston, I have been to because we went to PAX East a couple years ago, and it was really fun.
I would be at that show in a heartbeat.
So would I. I hope it's during the baseball season because I want to go to Fenway so bad.
It has to be. Christian, I know you hate Boston and the Red Sox, but please.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, that brings the chances down.
I know. Make it during a Red Sox Yankees series. That way you can still get something Yankees out of it. But oh God, I would take it. Coy, Roxy in their
Well, we have a lot of Bostonians. We have Roxy, we have Coy, we have Snyder. There's a ton of Bostonians, and it would obviously have to be a match where you feature them. They would have to be featured, right? When you go to these cities, you got to feature those who are from there, who have family there. So Roxy is a manager for someone like Snyder, or Coy managing someone who might be from the East Side, or that's kind of where it comes into play. But I definitely think Boston is on the radar. I know that they were talking about it pre-pandemic, and I'd love to see it. I haven't if New York shows up, Boston's going to show up. Like they kind of go hand in hand. They kind of go hand in hand.
New Orleans would be really fun.
That would be really fun. That would be really fun.
Here's my thought process behind it, and it's kind of just funny. Oh, Paige,
that too.
It's fun, and obviously it's not something that would make a difference or anything. But like, I was thinking of it kind of funny, like in a way, like if you look at the NCAA tournament when they do basketball. Sorry guys, I'm going into sports. Okay, when they do the March Madness tournament, a school hosts the bracket. So like when the Kings Stadium was built, where Jake and I are, Sacramento State was the host school. Wouldn't it be kind of funny to see like a competitor that's in the match be like, it's their home turf, their host thing. So like, say it was Snyder. He is the host competitor of the city. So like, it kind of like branches out. Maybe it's Chance and we're in somewhere in Arizona. Do it like that. Like it's kind of fun. Would it ever happen and work that way? No.
It'd be tough.
Yeah. But Marisol, have it in Philly. Like that.
I know you just got Christina up out of her chair. She talked about it. Yeah.
Philly is under Boston. Philly is actually my number 2 place that I would like.
Philly would be really cool. Yeah. Philly's a really cool city.
Another city I've never been to, but has great food.
Yeah. And that's honest. That's another step of this. And I'll get to the super chat before we can continue on. This is from Tim Sim here. Dallas and Austin are great Texas venues that the Schmoedown haven't visited yet, but given the current vaccination rates here, I wouldn't recommend going to Texas yet for some time as a native.
That's fair.
That is very fair. It probably wouldn't be until next year anyway, because that's a sudden plan to go to Texas this year with live events happening. And as Ryko asks, it's not confirmed, but more than likely, this is probably what you will see as like almost like a test. Be like, get our feet back in the water. Okay, we have one under our belt. Where do we go to next? I would imagine the second would probably be New York, because again, that's where Christian's
from.
It'd
be one of those two.
Yeah, it would be LA and New York just to kind of get everything back to normal. And then next year is probably where you'll start to see the branches really starting to happen. But back to the whole, and this always happens here, but back to the food conversation, you have to go to a city that has great food. Like
not so much food, even just entertainment. Like
that too.
I meant just like things that you can do. You don't want to go somewhere where it's just like you're going specifically just for that. Like, that's a good enough reason, but like you're probably going to draw more people. Don't tempt me with food. You're probably going to draw more people if they can make a full vacation out of it.
Speaking my language, Mick.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yes. So, oh God, if you somehow were able to give me a Schmoedown in Ireland, I would be there in a second.
Well, speaking of whiskey, somewhere like Kentucky would be really cool. Like a southern state that we have
some real Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah, like just somewhere that like is almost not an unrealistic, but a very unconventional choice, right? Not like the Atlantas or the Chicagos or the Bostons. Somewhere small, but all those cities can kind of like come to.
You're gonna start a barbecue war in the chat right now. I feel like
Nashville would be great.
Nashville's fun.
Would be awesome.
Go through all of the types of barbecue through the South. Make it a freaking
Charlotte.
Charlotte has barbecue.
Charlotte has legit barbecue.
Yeah,
I know. And Thomas is in one of the Carolinas. He could be tell us all the good barbecue places to go to.
I wouldn't mind coming back to Atlanta just because
I feel like Atlanta's. I feel like Atlanta is like an official.
I think
it's like one of those official knocks on the Schmoedown's list. Like, okay, Atlanta, we've done it. We've successfully done it. We will definitely go back. Like, it almost feels like LA, New York, Atlanta, and Chicago are the 4 staples right now, right? Like that is a guaranteed hit for the Schmoedown. I definitely go back. Definitely,
we did San Diego, and that was fun. It was just hard competing up against.
They did it at the wrong time. They did it at the wrong time. As great as it was to have during the weekend of Comic-Con, it was during a Comic-Con thing, and so filling seats was tough.
Yeah,
if you do it on a non-Comic-Con weekend, you're gonna fill seats 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, we went. That was my first live event. Jake went, and I went, and Gabby, and it was a freaking blast. It was
it hard to navigate? Great venue too.
Oh yeah, that venue was awesome. It's hard to navigate, obviously, with Comic-Con. I mean, I remember Lavic was Ryan just put it in the chat. The poor man would literally like 10 hours at Comic-Con and then just drove straight there, and he like had to
and he had to play Smets. Like, come on, like that's he was doing his job all day, and then he comes and gets demolished by Kevin Smets. Like that's
So I will say the venue at the Atlanta live event, I would heavily suggest that they find a better venue, because it was at the High Museum, which is cool, but it was like a nightmare to park at, and it was just kind of like a Aquarium. Oh yeah, they could. Yeah, I mean, if they could make that happen, it would be awesome to do it at the aquarium, because people could go early, see the fishies, and then go see a show.
For all you audio listeners, just real quick, when you guys don't watch live or on video, this is what you missed the live chat. We're talking about Schmoedown. They're currently arguing barbecue in the chat.
I told you.
So get on the YouTubes, everybody. Get on the YouTubes. Yeah. Real quick, Brian, I'm going to bring up this final super chat from Tim. Also would have added San Antonio because of the theme parks, but also the excellent nightlife on the river. San Antonio is great. I have family in San Antonio. Very beautiful city. So that's definitely an option. I just see it hard not being Houston because of Booker T's arena. Like it kind of just like makes sense, right? Like the venue is there, Brad is there. It kind of just like fits the build. But I would love to see something like Austin or San Antonio in Texas, because Texas rolls out.
Austin has a great convention center. We've been to the Rooster Teeth convention, and it's really nice. And it's like right next to like the heart of the city, basically.
Yeah.
I would like, and this is my own selfishness, would like it to come up to Northern California.
So someone, I think Raiko brought it up. No, I know Amaru just said it, but Raiko brought it up a little while ago, right here.
Northern
I love San Francisco, but I doubt Schmoedown is going to come there anytime soon.
I mean, we'll host it here in Sacramento if you want to come up to the state capitol. So we have the Kings, and not really
Sacramento's building. I will say this: the Schmoedown does have a lot of connections to Northern California. PJ is from here, first of all, and he mentioned it on our show. I know that he doesn't have a whole lot of say in live events, but he is from Sac. And I think also a big key in all of this is sometimes the Schmoedown does tend to follow wherever Mark Ellis goes for comedy shows.
Oh, yeah.
And if he does come to somewhere like San Francisco or Sacramento, that's where the likelihood raises, because he will already be here with tickets and people will join him there, and also something like the Schmoedown as well.
Oh, Brian, that's tempting. Star Wars match at Rancho Obi-Wan.
Oh,
that'd be cool. I mean, I feel like a Star Wars match at Scum and Villainy is bound to happen, but that place is tiny.
It is very small.
So,
Camshaft, you tell me when and where in Lake Tahoe for a Schmoedown.
Yeah, for all of you who may be questioning the Sacramento side of Schmoedown, we have San Francisco in the city 2 hours this way, and we have something like Lake Tahoe in Reno 2 hours that way. I mean, make it a weekend and you got yourself a good vacation. So, just saying.
God, it's funny because now I literally still haven't stopped thinking about all the barbecue places. Like that's
let's move on from barbecue, damn it.
Like that's literally like, I mean, you know how many places you have? Kansas City, you have Nashville, you have St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta. We can fit maybe 50 to 100 people in our backyard / house.
They would just have to get up into that, like
into the hill. Yeah, you put chairs in.
And then the stage can be your actual lawn.
Yeah.
Now there's not a Reno in California. It's like
it's
what?
In Nevada. It's
like an hour into the state. No, not even. I don't know.
For you mean Reno and Nevada?
Yeah, like once you cross the line.
It's not that far at all. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to move on from barbecue at some point, guys. I apologize. All of you arguing me.
I will say though, to what you said earlier, I would one that actually seems like very plausible to me is Seattle.
That and Denver are two that I think about a lot.
I honestly think that those two are like plausible ones to go to do at. Like, I mean, Seattle's a big enough place. Denver, I see being a big enough place. I think those are actually like real places that could be opportunistic for it. Oh God, yeah. Wherever he's hosting that Toledo event, I'll be there in a second.
So the biggest thing that comes into this when we talk live events is what does the city have to offer, right? It's not just about the Schmoedown. Like if people are going to travel from, like say they do something in Seattle, if people are going to travel from California or Arizona or Colorado or whatever to come to these events, or even across the country, because some people do that. What does it have to offer? Seattle, I know because I have been there, offers quite a bit. It is a very cool city. The nightlife is very, very prominent. Not just with like bars and stuff, but just in general, there's a lot of things to do. I've never been to Denver, but I know Denver has a similar way as well. I know it's a big brewery city. It's a foodie city, which definitely gets people intrigued. I would love to see the Schmoedown travel to places like that at some point. And that kind of is in the same vein of Philadelphia, right? We haven't been there. It's a city that has a lot to offer. It's a little bigger than those, but it's whatever the city has to offer is what's going to make the Schmoedown go there. Not just the people, but what does its surrounding things have for everybody who is traveling there?
I mean, I would love a good Vegas one.
Oh God.
I think that could be very interesting. that could be kind of fun.
Now the question for that is the venue. What kind of venue? Because that might be a hiked up
MGM Grand.
Oh God, Brian!
It would have to be off the strip for sure.
It would have to be like way off.
The Raiders Stadium is off the strip. There you go, Jay.
You're gonna rent the Death Star for a night.
Absolutely.
One more super chat has come in here for Tim Sim. F all barbecues, Texas barbecue all day, every day. This debate's over because I paid for this. That's fair.
Listen, we treat all barbecues equally here on POV. We're open to try any and all barbecues. So yeah.
I will say this to any of you arguing barbecue in the chat. If you guys would like to send us barbecue to debate on camera on one of our shows, we will happily take donations via barbecue. We will give you addresses and everything if you want to send over your best
barbecue flavored whatever.
Yeah,
going to start being a thing now.
Another super chat, real quick, between Austin and Houston. When it comes to arranging a meetup on the day before the live events, Austin's nightlife makes it easier to schedule, in my opinion.
I think so too. Yeah, Austin's just so much fun.
I will say, and to all of you Austin people in the chat, Bangers Breakfast is incredible. It's a German place, and they do what's called man-mosas, and they're in liter jugs like they get for beer.
Oh, so the men can only drink the.
That's a lot of.
It's called man-mosas.
That's a lot of orange juice, though.
Oh, I didn't have one, but I'm sure it's not just all orange juice. I'm sure it's not just orange juice.
I mean, a mimosa's orange juice and champagne. I mean, unless it's a $30 drink, I doubt it's half champagne, half orange juice.
Okay, so let me ask this. Let me pose the question for you too. Outside of your home state, what would be your number one choice?
Molly,
and for you, not California either.
I'd say Austin, honestly. That was the first place that popped in my head. We've been there before. The nightlight is great. The nightlight is great. The food is great. And I don't know much about the venues there, but I think they could easily find a place. My vote's for Austin. And it's kind of like halfway in between here and where you guys are.
I would second that.
Make us do half the work too.
I would second that. It's no secret to Brian, but I'm a big Texas Longhorns fan. I have been my entire life. And that's why I wanted to go into Austin in general. The city is incredible. When we went there a couple years ago, I loved it. Look, the Adams Bros already got a suggestion as far as venues. So Christian, there you go. ACL Moody Theater in Austin. Boom. But just to play counter, if I'm not choosing Austin because Molly went with it, I personally have always wanted to go to Chicago. I've never been to Chicago. And I know that they've already been, and it was just for Star Wars Celebration.
But the venue was great. If they went to that same venue, Yes, party.
If they just did a basic Schmoedown event, a Schmoedown throwdown in Chicago, I would be there in a heartbeat. I've always wanted to go to Chicago. I've heard the city is beautiful. The food, the hot dogs, the pizza, you have it. I'm sure it has the nightlife. You have the options to go to baseball games. There's 2 teams in the city. I would absolutely love to go to Chicago. I know Peggy, who just popped in the chat randomly just now.
Also, no, she's been here the whole time.
Has she?
Saying
okay.
Chicago.
Okay. Yes, Peggy, Chicago.
She even said one of the river boat things that we.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No.
What about you, Brian?
I mean,
well, other than Boston,
it's no secret. Yeah. Honestly, Philly really is the one that's drawing me. I don't know why. I just think I feel like it would just be so loud, fun, just a fun atmosphere. I would love a New Orleans too, but that's just selfish because
New Orleans, nobody would remember. Like nobody would remember. Christian wouldn't remember what happened. Mark sure as hell wouldn't remember what happened. The competitors might disappear. I don't know. That show would be absolutely chaotic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm always going to pick Boston first, but Philly would be, I feel like, an experience because you're going to grab those people from New York that want to go. And I mean, there's a lot of other closer places that could reach that too. Like it's not freaking California, like Sacramento to San Diego, where it's going to take you.
It's
8 hours.
It's East US, but it's far enough this way to where it's still a doable travel.
Yeah, like doable. I don't know the time, but I feel like Nashville to Philly is probably the same, if not shorter than Sacramento to San Diego. So I mean, like that just feels like a good kind of middle section if you want to get out of New York but still be in that hub of people. So I think it'd be fun.
Real quick to everybody in the chat, same question to you guys. One answer only. I want to highlight a bunch here on the screen.
Yeah.
So they are shown. And I will also bring up what Brian Nussbaum said here. This event was supposed to happen originally, but it got canceled the week of. And we were going to go. Makuga was going to be there. Mark was doing a show. Chance Ellison was going to play. And
see that
Arizona would be
host the players.
You can even do an FCL match because Late to the Party's there.
Yeah.
You could highlight FCL a little bit, which would be a lot of fun. So yeah, to everyone in the chat, one answer only. Where you want to go?
Put your city.
I'll highlight a bunch as we're kind of wrapping up our live event talk here. Any others we didn't mention? And I mean, is there any like
major cities? I mean, St. Louis.
St. Louis would be great. St. Louis would be great
to reopen the barbecue talk. Yes.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Rachel, we just talked about Arizona. Hello, Rachel. Go back to vacation now.
I don't know how Portland would be. I just want to go there for the food, personally.
Portland would be tough. It's close enough to Seattle, though.
I'm trying to think. What other biggest cities?
I mean,
back to Orlando. I think
Orlando. That's right.
Fun.
That's right.
I mean, Florida is another one of those that Tim Sim mentioned about the vaccinations. Florida is probably kind of low, but I mean, Disney World's open, so might as well.
Cleveland would be interesting.
Yeah,
would be interesting.
Put one over there. I'm like going through the U.S. right now.
Hartford and Providence, St. Louis, KC, William, Maui, Hawaii.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Look, if Ethan and Paul are there, just have their next match there. There you go.
Give me another reason to go Hawaii. Yeah. I will be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Orlando.
Back to the Bay would be fun.
Again, Canada's probably the top pick out of the places that we'd want to see the most.
Yeah.
Orlando, Denver, St. Louis, another Orlando.
Robert Adams.
Edinburgh.
Give me DC so I can get some crap.
We mentioned Vegas. Oakland and Berkeley, Amara, you're playing at our heart. Playing with our heart. Washington, D.C., that would be cool.
Give me all the... Wait, I'm not going to say give me all the crabs.
Philly.
You can get good seafood in Boston. I had the best. Some of the best seafood I've had was from Boston.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd go to Colorado.
Dude, Denver would be. I feel like Denver would be such a.
I want to go to Denver so bad. I
really, for some reason, Denver seems like it would just be such a good place.
Everyone would be high.
Yeah, from the air alone.
High on the elevation.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I meant.
No, I've heard Denver, and I've said it before, is very similar to what we have in Sac. It's a big foodie brewery town.
Yeah,
that fits a very good vibe.
I think that could be a really fun and interesting place.
I would book a ticket to Denver now if they said Denver. I'd go in a heartbeat.
Give it to me during winter, even. We can go skiing.
Well, that's if you can even get there. If it's snowing, you might not be able to.
That is true. But then again, I say I would go do skiing, and I've never done skiing in my life. So, sledding.
Mix on the right tracks.
She's still.
I'm a simple woman. You know, like I want very little in life.
Ryan is killing it.
It would go around more than your typical couple times.
Yeah, you'd be standing there for quite a while with that wheel spin. Just to wrap this up, Camshafters threw a bunch in here. Denver and Seattle are okay, but Nashville, Austin, Chicago, and New York, incredible cities.
Agreed.
Honestly, I'm looking where I want to go for the food.
That's kind of how I am too, because like you have to eat when you're there, right? Like you kind of
because we went to the award show. And it was no surprise for anyone that
this would be insane.
They don't let you film in those places. I've tried.
Jesus. She did not try to host a happy hour. Let's put that out there first.
Here you go. Bring the party south of the border to Tijuana.
Well,
hey now,
wouldn't come back. That might
don't tempt me with a good time.
There is a question here which is quite interesting. Cool little question here from Ryan. If you could play a live event on any Star Wars planet, what would you choose?
Oh,
that's a fun question.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say Coruscant because I feel like the nightlife is really good there. Yeah, but also like Scarif would be nice because of the just.
Oh
like the,
yeah.
If you lose, you're sitting on a beach the rest of the weekend, right?
Yeah. But I think Coruscant has more to do.
Let's hopefully go pre
Coruscant has all the comedy bars, and so Mark could perform somewhere.
Molly, you need to pick Naboo because you haven't stopped talking about how much you want to go back to Italy. So.
This is such a typical Harper for the troops on Camino. That is so Thomas.
This guy for the troops,
the ones that eventually are trying to kill you, Thomas.
Oh God. Yeah, I think I'd pick.
Robert's got a great point here. You get some death sticks and answer movie trivia questions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you saw Obi-Wan walk into the Outlander Club. He's like, "What are you gonna?" Anakin's like, "What are you gonna do?" "I'm gonna go get a drink."
Did anyone notice that she flexed right there with the name of the club?
Absolutely, she did.
She didn't just say walk into the club. She flexed with the name.
It's the Outlander Club.
Exegol would not be a good choice. That would not be a good choice. That's a long travel for some people.
Yeah, you know how hard. There's only 2 maps. You
gotta get your hands on one of them.
Mustafar would be a hot destination. You just have to perform on the high ground.
That's a good one. Host it in his castle. That's where the venue would be.
Oh God! All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our live event talk for the evening. We got a lot of good information from a lot of people. Thank you guys so much for putting out there. It seems like Texas is kind of the leading one right now. Canada, obviously, is the first choice, but being in the U.S., Texas seems to be taking the cake at the moment. But a lot of cities out there: Seattle, Philadelphia, Denver was a hot topic. Not just Austin, but San Antonio, Nashville. There's a lot of information out there.
Northern California.
Obviously, we would love to see it. We would obviously love to see it. But with LA close to us, it definitely is tough. It seems like one city is almost one state choice for what's happening now. So Arizona, we mentioned Arizona. That also seems like a lot because it was canceled last year. So hopefully, and maybe we'll have this conversation again as live events are actually happening.
For the record, Jill would pick New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, New Orleans is also.
We didn't ask her, but we know what she would pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's typical. She's basic.
Yeah.
So just choice.